Good morning and welcome to the Oasis Center for Spiritual Living, where we come together as one, providing spiritual tools for daily living. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Reverend Tucker. I am the senior minister here at the Oasis, and I have this wonderful team that God has provided me that I always like to introduce because there's so much. They do all the work. I just speak. That's all I do. First off is my faithful assistant, Faith. She's been my assistant basically since the day she was born. Her father would bring her to church when she was about 3 weeks old, and he would have the soundboard in one hand and her in the other hand. And then when she was able to crawl, he'd let her go and she'd crawl right up on the stage, and we would just leave her there. I had a portable mic at the time, so I just step over her, but she acted like she belonged up there, so we left her there. And then we would put her on the podium when we did announcements, and I think people paid more attention because she was up there. But then she grew up a little bit, and then she and her sister would do affirmation cards at the end as ushers. And she grew up about 6 blocks from my house. Her father was a tow truck driver at the time, and he would go on out-of-town tows and drop the girls at my house. And, of course, I had projects coming out of my ears. And so I got to see what Faith was capable of doing. And so when she was 14 and a half, she said, I want a real job. I don't want to just babysit anymore. I said, okay, cool. And I hired her for my ozone business, and we made a pretty good team, I think. Mm-hmm. And then when we went live for the pandemic, I asked her if she wanted to be my ministerial assistant, and of course she said yes. So here we are today with Faith in the background, kind of like in The Wizard of Oz. When you pull back the curtain, you see Faith. She is in the background doing all the work. And if you say hello, good morning, hi, however you want to greet us, she's the one that answers you as me. I go back later and look just to see if there's anything I need to clarify. It's only happened like twice in 4 years. So she knows me better than I know myself. And we ask that you say hi, good morning, hello, because when we're in a facility, I can look out and see the faces shining back at me. Here I get a number. I don't even get a name, so I don't know who our audience is. So please say hi, hello, good morning, however you want to greet us, and Faith will answer you. Faith is also our soloist, and today she's going to be singing When I Dream by Karen Drucker. Cool, I remembered it.
Got it.
I know, right? That's crazy in the mornings. Okay, so thank you, Faith, for being here. I love you. And then there is the wise and powerful Oz, my partner in crime. And he is our practitioner of the day, meaning he does the invocation and benediction, and then is available for the 1-minute miracle afterwards. And so Oz has been with me since basically 1998, I think it was. And he took all of his practitioner training with me and was my board president for many years, and then moved to Florida. So we lost the ability to have him in our service. But today, or since the pandemic, when I asked him to be my practitioner of the day for our services, he's in Wisconsin now. He's normally in Florida all winter, but because of this technology, we're able to have him back with us on as the practitioner of the day. So thank you so much for being here, Oz. I so appreciate you. Love you. All right. And so we are doing a series on my book, 10 Weeks on the Road to Prosperity. Today is stop 6, which is clarity. And that's all I'm going to say right now. I'll explain later. If you would like to do a watch party and invite all your friends, there's a watch party button. You click on that, invite your friends. You can talk amongst yourselves because it's not public, so you're not interfering with anybody else's experience. So it's a great way for them to see what kind of Sunday services they can expect, and it's a great way for them to get any questions they might have answered. All right, click on that watch party button and invite your friends. And so I invite you now to close your eyes if that feels comfortable. Allow the service to inspire you, uplift and inspire you, blah, while we listen to our centering song.
The presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace can feel the rush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can feel the rush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place.
The presence of God is always right here, right now. For God, as we conceive of it, is in all things as all things. For if God is eternal, if God is infinite, God must be right here, right now, in each and every moment, now, in the past, and in the future. And I know that God's presence works its way through our service and through our lives, manifesting in perfection as it is allowed. For we steer the ship, and God provides the waves. I know this is good and very good, and I allow the blessings to flow with great thanks. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Oz. This next song is one that Reverend Fairy Elaine Silver wrote during her practitioner training. Let me quickly introduce the adjunct music team that we have. Just they're really important. I forgot to introduce them. One is Reverend Fairy Elaine Silver, who has in the very beginning asked us to use her music, and the other is Karen Drucker, who gifted us with her entire collection of like 20 CDs worth of music so that we could do this Sunday service when we started. If we try to do contemporary music, either Facebook or YouTube mutes us. And so we couldn't do a real Sunday service with music without these two ladies. So without further ado, we're going to listen to the song that Reverend Fairy Elaine Silver wrote during her practitioner training, which is We Are All One.
We are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it. I hear it and know it, my being. Spirit is all I am seeing. For God is all there is. Grateful am I to be living, open to what I receive, honoring what I've been given, sharing now what I believe. I remember the oneness around me. I surrender to infinite light, knowing the love that's surrounding me is within me by day and night. And we are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it. Yes, we are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it.
Just so you know, the prominent voice in the choir when we play the songs from the choir is our own Albertina Giuffre, Tina, which you might recognize from our, she calls it the crying season, Mother's Day, Father's Day, Memorial Day, and of course Christmas. So That's Tina. All right. If you're here, please say hi, hello, good morning, however you want to greet us. In a facility, we can look out. I can look out and see the shining faces beaming back at me. Here, I just get a number, no names or anything, so I don't know who our audience is. So please say hi, good morning, hello, however you want to greet us. If you're stopping by later, just say hello. Let me know that you were here. If you like something, either something I say or Faith sings or Oz prays, use that like button. And if you love it, please send us love. Do the hearts. And if something I say is really powerful for you, by all means, use that wow button. It lets me know that I'm on track. And that feedback is very important to us. So without further ado, here is Faith singing another Karen Drucker song, When I Dream.
Thank you. Life can be what I make it to be. Everything real comes naturally. Magic is with me in a place I can't see. When I dream, when I dream. Dream of the mountains that one day I'll climb, or travel the oceans inside my mind. Everything's possible, everything's fine when I dream, when I dream, when I dream. Anytime I go inside and ask the questions in my mind, relax and breathe and enjoy the ride. Mystery adventure is waiting for me. Let myself float on the wings of desire, turning that feeling of passion to fire. Letting go is all that's required when I dream, when I dream, when I dream. Anytime I go inside and ask the questions in my mind, relax and breathe and enjoy the ride. Mystery adventure is waiting for me. Let myself float on the wings of desire, turning that feeling of passion to fire. Letting go is all that's required when I dream, when I dream, when I dream, when I dream, when I dream. La la la, 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 la la la.
You busted me. I was taking a drink on my coffee. Thank you, Faith. I love that song. It's so sweet and kind of lulls you. It just opens your heart. I like that. Thank you very much. Good job. Okay, this week we're going to be talking about clarity because clarity is a very important piece of the whole picture. Imagine, if you will, going to a restaurant and you're hungry. And you say to the waitress, she says, "What do you want?" And you say, "I don't know. I don't care. Just bring me a plate of food." And you don't happen to like mushrooms. And so she brings a whole plate of mushrooms. You wouldn't want to do that, right? You would be very specific about what you want. But with prosperity, we do that. We say, "Give me prosperity." And we don't delineate what it is we want. We don't we aren't clear in our intention for prosperity. And so the prosperity that comes to us is maybe not what we expected or wanted. We are such funny creatures because we are, our brain is sort of trained to think that it's not okay to ask for money. It's not okay to ask for prosperity. And so when we ask for prosperity, we almost feel guilty about it. So we don't actually manifest anything because we're not open to receive it. And because we're not clear about what prosperity is for us, every prosperity looks different for every person. For instance, I went to lunch with this lady. She was a member of one of the founding families in Colorado, in Denver, I think. And they were very, very wealthy. And her family was losing everything. And she took me to lunch. I was working for her at the time. And she took me to lunch and she kept complaining because she only had $500,000 in her bank account. And, as she's talking, I'm thinking, well, I have $10 in my savings account and I'm overdrawn on my checking account. And then I finally tuned into what was going on here. It doesn't matter what the zeros are or where they're placed. Prosperity is different for every person. To her, that wasn't prosperity. That was poverty. And to me, that was prosperity. $500,000 in my bank account would have been a blessing, but she didn't see it that way. And so when we ask for prosperity, it's very important that we get clear about what that looks like, feels like, sounds like. We have to know what the experience is going to be like for us so that we can direct our our visualizations, our prayers, our affirmations towards exactly what it is we want. Alexander Graham Bell is a perfect example of this. His boss had him working on a telegraph, and he really wanted to do something where people could hear each other's voices, not just, a telegram. And so he brought that to his boss, and his boss kind of laughed at him and said, no, we're not going to do that. And so, he just continued to work on his telegram like he was supposed to. But in the meantime, he was working at this school for the deaf. And there was this one kid who was afraid to hear his own voice. And so it kept him from speaking out. And, And so, Bell designed this system so he could desensitize him to sounds. So he took this horn and he put it in his ear, like a ram horn or whatever, and he put it to his ear and then made a lot of noise. So the kid then got used to, or got desensitized to noises. Then he asked him to speak. And because he was desensitized and he heard his voice for the first time, he was like, wow, this is really cool. And there had been another teacher in the school who would chastise him when he wouldn't speak up. And so Alexander Graham Bell made it possible for him to be comfortable listening to his own voice. So he was starting to speak up more and all the bullying just stopped. But imagine what our lives today would be like if all he did was work on the telegraph, right? I don't know about you, but I do everything on my phone. We phone, we text, we manage our calendar. We do social media, we do banking, we do all of that stuff on our phone. Well, we couldn't do that with a telegraph, right? So even though today's telephone doesn't look anything like what the telephone that he designed was, it has expanded and grown, obviously. But it is such an important piece of our lives. And he was very clear that he didn't want to just make it so that people could communicate, but he wanted them to communicate in a specific way so that they heard other people's voices. And because he got clear, we now have telephones. And so that's kind of what we need to do with everything. I mean, it doesn't matter whether we're talking about health or relationships or prosperity. Like I say, anything that I'm teaching you here can be used for anything. So when we teach our form of affirmative prayer spiritual mind treatment, we ask students to come up with a purpose statement. And they start out, do this purpose statement for what they're going to be praying for. And then the idea is that they carry through the prayer. I can't tell you how many times people in my classes, beginning students, will write a purpose statement for one thing and then totally go off in another direction when they're praying. And I'll say, so what did you manifest? And they're like, nothing. And I'm like, I'm not surprised, because you weren't clear about the purpose of what you were praying about. So I say to you, do a purpose statement. You don't have to write it down. I just make my students do it because it's part of the process. But if you want to, write it down. What is the purpose of your prosperity? Get really clear about that. The universe doesn't know what the heck you're talking about if you don't, get clear about that. We don't believe in a rescue 911 God who rescues us out of situations or throws prosperity at us. Like, here's something. What do you think about that? We don't believe in a God that does that. We believe in a God that works off of the cookie cutter thing that we have built. Our intention is to create this Christmas tree. We take a Christmas tree cutter and we put it in the dough and then we bake it in the oven, right? God does all the work. All we have to do is get really, really clear about what it is we want. So make your purpose statement, knowing full well that the more clear you are about your prosperity, the better the experience is going to be for you. And another thing about clarity, for instance, is I woke up one morning, I had been dieting I was doing every fad diet that came on the market, and I would lose weight initially. And then as soon as I'd start to eat normally, the weight would just come right back on. And I woke up one morning and I was determined that I wasn't going to go up another size. I had gone up like 5 sizes and I just wasn't going to have it. And so just to give you a frame of reference, when I was in high school, I was 115 pounds. Well, I had gone up to 184 pounds. So that was way outside my comfort zone. So I woke up and I just looked around and I thought, I don't like the way my clothes fit. I don't like how I feel when I am walking or sitting. I just don't like the feeling of all of this. And someone recommended a book for me, which was about this HCG diet, that you had to go to Germany and pay $10,000 to this German clinic to issue these shots and keep you on the diet. Well, I didn't have $10,000 at the time, so I was like, oh, well, and I just put the book away. But because I kept declaring my intention to be tone and fit, I was sitting doing something. I had my left brain totally into something else. And this commercial came on TV, and all of a sudden my attention just zoomed right in on the TV. And I don't know why, because I was busy doing something, but it just did. And it turned out it was this chiropractor in Pueblo that was doing the HCG diet with people. And so I called up and I said, how much is it? And it was like $800, which is so much better than $10,000, right? And so I went down and I did it. And in 5 months, I lost 60 pounds. And I kept that 60 pounds off for 6.5 years. I actually lost a little bit more than that. But I was trying to force a certain weight on myself. And so I kept gaining back the 5 pounds. My body was saying, no, that's not your perfect weight. So we have to pay attention to that as well. But anyway, that's a very good example of how when I set my intention, the universe, God, Allah, whatever you want to call it, jumped up and created for me a pathway for me to get the information. And the diet reset my metabolism so I could eat pretty much everything I wanted. And I kept it off for like 6.5 years until my Hashimoto's kicked in. And the point is when I made the decision and became very clear about what I wanted to look like, feel like, etc., the perfect way to get to manifest my goal showed up. I didn't tell God how I was going to get there. I didn't care how at all. Well, I knew I didn't want to be sick, so I changed my clear intention to release fat in a healthy way. Notice I didn't say lose fat, because anything you lose you can find. So I intentionally said that I wanted to be toned and trim and release fat in a healthy way. And so that became my intention. So what happens when we have a firm intention is we measure all of our actions against that clear intention. There were many times during that diet that I really wanted to eat foods that I was craving because I was limited to, I think it was 2 meats, and there was like 8 foods that I could eat altogether. And so there were times when I wanted to give up, but I kept saying no. My intention is a tone and trim body, releasing fat in a healthy way. And then I would change my mind and not indulge in those things. It was a very strict diet, 500 calories a day, and it wasn't easy to do. But because I kept measuring against my intention, I was able to do it. So what is it that you want? What do you really, really want? It doesn't have to be money or weight. It's whatever you want. If health is an issue, then what does health mean to you? You know, get clear about what health looks like and feels like. If you're having a bad relationship, then you want to have a good relationship. Get clear about what that looks like and feels like. My late editor, Dr. Margaret Standard, had me rewrite the introduction of my book because she was not a visual person, and I use a lot of visual words. I think it's because our society uses a lot of visual words. So when I say visualize, I'm not saying pictures necessarily. You can have a feeling, you can have a knowingness. You might actually hear a voice. It doesn't really matter as long as you get that clarity about what it is. And so a perfect example is, because I'm not really visual either. It's funny that I use a lot of visual words, but someone once told me that when I get concerned about the roads getting icy, to put a pink bubble around me. So for a very long time, probably months, I tried to picture this pink bubble around my car. Well, I'm not a very visual person, so I never was able to actually visualize the pink bubble. But after several months of doing this, I realized that I was making it through these icy roads just fine, that I had the calm and peace while I was driving. And so it served its purpose. And I didn't have to actually see the pink bubble. I just had to know that the pink bubble was around my car, you see. And that gave me the comfort and ease, and it protected me, I feel. Another example is, does anybody remember the Stephen King novel and movie Firestarter? That's a perfect example there. This little kid was born to her parents who had participated in some kind of experiment at the university to enhance their gifts by they gave them some kind of chemical. And so whatever their gift was, it got enhanced. So for instance, her father was really good at pushing. That was his gift. And so, for instance, one day they were in the cab and he didn't have any money and he had to get his daughter to safety. So he handed a blank piece of paper to the taxi driver and pushed that it was money. And the taxi driver saw it as a $20 bill. And so he took them where they wanted to go. And so she learned that from her father. And I actually started to play around with it. I know it's fiction. I really get that. But I decided to play around with it at one point because when I stopped smoking for 5.5 months one time, I was really angry all the time, like super angry, like rageful. And I have this issue with people, getting up behind me in my car, they get up against my bumper almost, and if I have to stop, I feel like they're going to crash right through my car. And so I had this issue, and I was on my way to work one day and this guy got up too close to my bumper and I slammed on the brakes and I hear this, and I look in my rearview mirror and he had swerved off onto the side of the road. And about a half a mile later, I looked back and he was still sitting there. And I thought, oh my gosh, I hope I didn't cause him to have a heart attack or something. But so I started experimenting with this push method. And so people get up against my bumper and I go, get back, with all of the energy I can manage to say it with, not angry, but just energy. And you know what? It worked. Whenever I do that, they move back. It's really crazy that something that's fiction like that. But my intention is to be safe. And my intention is to be is to feel safe. And so it didn't really matter that I saw anything. What mattered was the energy and the intention that I had to have them get back. So anyway, let's see, where am I? So when we have clarity about our intentions, we're focused. And with focus, there's movement and energy in the direction that you desire. If there's no negative or contrary belief between where you are right now and where you intend to be, the energy will move instantly to create the manifestation of your goal. See, what begins to happen is if I start affirming or visualizing or praying for a specific result, all of the things that are listed in or that are housed in my subjective mind. Remember, a couple of weeks ago, I was talking about the subjective mind being like a computer hard drive. And so all of your experiences and your reactions to those experiences is stored in that subjective mind. And so if you believe, for example, that it's a sin to ask for prosperity, that's going to jump up and say howdy. Or if you think that you don't deserve money, it's going to jump up and say howdy. So we start with where we're comfortable. If you want to, you can start saying, for instance, $1,000 a month. Most people are comfortable with $1,000 a month. And then because you're comfortable, move it up to 1,500, and then your beliefs will show up, and then you can deal with those beliefs. And then when you're comfortable at 1,500, you're going to move it up to 2,000 and so on. Most people couldn't create $75 million. I can't. I haven't gotten there yet. I think I eventually can get there if I work hard enough at it. But I'm comfortable. I have made $5,000 a month. So I'm comfortable with that $5,000 a month. $10,000 a month, I'm a little outside my comfort zone. So that's what I'm targeting in my practice right now, is to, I now easily and effortlessly attain and retain and maintain an income of $10,000 a month or more. That's my affirmation. And when I do my treatment, that's what I'm doing. And when I do my visualizations, I'm visualizing what life looks like, feels like, sounds like, when I have a $10,000 a month income coming in, right? And so until I get comfortable, and then when I'm comfortable with that, I'm going to work towards $20,000 a month, right? So that's kind of how the process works. And clarity and intention are a way of building a foundation for your life. Just think what would happen if you built a house without a proper foundation. It'd be too top heavy, and the first wind that comes along would blow the house down. That's the way our mind works too. If we haven't built the proper foundation for what it is we want to experience, we'll be able to manifest, but we won't be able to keep it, or we won't be able to manifest it at all. A perfect example of that is how many people have won the lottery, and the next day or a week later or a month later, they didn't pay their child support, so the government comes for them for the child support. Or perhaps they didn't pay their taxes, and the government comes for them for their past taxes. And so they've won these millions of dollars, and then the next day or the next week or the next month, they lose it all. So they aren't able to retain it. So we have to build that proper foundation. The reason that happens is that they haven't created that proper foundation so that abundance or prosperity will stay in their lives. And for instance, a belief that you don't believe that you deserve to have that money will create a circumstance where that money disappears as fast as it comes in. I'm really good at manifesting money. I'm really good at making money, but I also am really good at spending money. And so we work on that ability to not only bring money in, but to retain it or maintain it. What does it mean to flow money? That's what I like to think of it as flowing money. A couple of weeks ago, I did this exercise for the law of circulation, where I was showing you what it feels like to try and take in breath, hold it, take in more breath, hold it, take in more breath, hold it, until you reach a point where you can't take any more in. That's a perfect example of how the universe works with the flow of energy. That's why I'm teaching you to step up to tithing, because that energetic flow needs to be stimulated at both ends, the giving and the receiving part of it. And so the law of circulation has a lot to do with what we do here. It means that we need to give in order to receive. We need to receive in order to give, right? And so we keep that flow going. That's what it means to flow money. So when I am visualizing what it's like to have a lot of money, is I visualize the flow of money coming in and going out, but there's always plenty. And we open up that flow and keep it going. This community is a perfect example. Because when we first opened, people came to our church just because it was in the neighborhood. Like it was convenient for them to come. And I think we built a community who now is together because we appreciate each other and we appreciate the community that we built. And so what we need to recognize is that we are a product of that foundation that we built, right? If you're working on healing, for example, you're going to visualize the perfect health, like whatever it is that you haven't been able to do up to now, you want to visualize yourself doing those things. No limitations, right? Isn't that what perfect health really is? There are exceptions to that rule, I will say. In most cases, we aren't going to visualize the process. Like we're not going to visualize ourselves winning the lottery. We're not going to visualize ourselves with a specific person. I'll get to that in a second. But with health, there are exceptions. Bernie Siegel has a book where he tells cancer patients to visualize chemo as Pac-Man eating up all the cells, right? The cancer cells. In that case, that's what breaks that rule, because you do want to facilitate the healing process by visualizing that. But for instance, you're not going to visualize finding the perfect doctor or a specific supplement or something that's going to change your health. You're not going to visualize that kind of stuff. You're going to visualize or feel or hear, or just even a knowingness about what is your life like when you have achieved that perfect health, right? The same thing with relationships. For example, when we did a whole bunch of visioning and visualization about a keyboard in our church, and we got a keyboard. What we didn't visualize was a keyboard player. So we never manifested the keyboard player. But I had this idea right before we left our facility. I had this idea of taking a cardboard cutout. You know how famous entertainers and stuff, they have cardboard cutouts of them? That we would get one of those as a keyboard player to sit behind the keyboard and just black out the head. No hair, no face, no anything. We would just have that there so that we could visualize somebody playing that keyboard, right? And that's the way we have to do it when we're working on a relationship. It's not going to be that specific person. I can't visualize for someone else, right? All of the work that we do, the spiritual work that we do, changes our consciousness, and it's not up to us to change another person's consciousness. My mentor, Minister Dr. Kathy Vogt, had this friend, Valerie, from England, who was dying of cancer. And she was sitting in the room with her doing all of her prayer work. And Valerie would go in and out of consciousness, in and out of consciousness. And finally she woke up and she looked at her and she said, "I don't know what you're doing, but stop it. I need to leave." And so Dr. Kathy finally got that you cannot force someone else into your experience. So we're not going to focus on a specific person or even a face or even a body type. All we're going to do is picture ourselves or feel ourselves in the experience of what it feels like to be in love. If you like bowling, you're going to visualize yourself bowling with this person that's nameless and faceless. Or if you want to go read books in the park, you visualize that there's a person next to you who maybe has a leg over your leg and you're sitting there together reading books. Or perhaps it's snowboarding, or perhaps it's whatever experience you want to have with this loved one. You're going to have that experience in your mind. And again, you're not going to look, there's not going to be a specific look about this person. It's going to be either the feeling or the visual of what it's like to do those things that will make you feel like you are loved, right? I skipped around a little bit. Okay, so if money is what we're going to work on, Don't visualize winning the lottery. Visualize what your life will be like when you have all the money you could ever want or need. What would you spend the money on? What kind of house would you buy if it's a house? What accoutrement would it have? See yourself spending the money on whatever you want. Perhaps that's paying off all your debts. Perhaps it's traveling to Paris to shop. I have this one of my mentor ministers, I should say, Marlene Morris and CAC, sent me this box. They used to like to go to Paris to shop, and they sent me this box of purple stuff because CAC is a purple person like I am, and it had like all kinds of purple things. It had a little coin purse that came from Neiman Marcus that was purple. It had inside the box was a jewelry box that was purple. There was a scarf. There was all this stuff, including purple contacts. But so visualize whatever it is that you want. Visualize yourself doing that. Like if it's a house, like I visualize my house in Florida every single day. I spend at least 10 minutes a day focused on what does my house in Florida feel like and look like. I have a specific idea about my Florida room, my pool, the enclosed patio. I have this shower that I want is not an enclosed shower. It's what I had in Puerto Vallarta at the hotel. When you go around the corner, there's like a brick wall. You go around the corner and then you shower, but it's wide open because there's a brick wall kind of around it, right? And so I visualize that stuff every day. So this week, I know I've talked about visualization before, but we want to go a little bit deeper into that. And so in a moment, I'm going to have Faith put some music on, and I'm going to run you through a visualization that will be here anytime you want to go back to it, or you can do your own visualization. But instead of doing the normal pray out, that's what I'm going to do. So we're ready, Mr. Music. Right now, I'd like you to take in a nice, deep, cleansing breath in through the nose. Hold it and release. Take another deep, cleansing breath in through the nose. Hold it and release. And now this time, I want you to come from your belly up into your nostrils. Hold it and release out through the mouth. I'd like you to imagine right now that you are in this beautiful meadow on top of a hill. And the sounds of nature are all around. You hear the birds singing. You hear the leaves rustling on the trees. You hear everything that represents that peaceful state of mind. And now, even if you are artistically challenged like I am, imagine there's an easel in front of you with paint and paintbrushes. And for this moment, you have magically gotten the gift of being able to paint like the masters. Don't let yourself fall into that, but I can't paint. Allow yourself to just envelop yourself in the magic of being able to paint like the masters. And I'd like you to paint right now a picture, a snapshot of what life is like when you have prosperity. And don't get caught up in, the feelings of, oh, I can't do this or anything like that. You're just knowing that the magic is there. You have the ability, and you just create the perfect picture of what prosperity the experience of prosperity. I'm going to let you have a couple minutes just to paint your picture. Get in as fine detail as you can. Don't think too much about the picture. Just let it flow right through you. Give you just a brief moment to finish up your picture. And now stand back and look at this picture that you have created. Anytime you want, you can bring this image to your mind as you're doing your visualizations. And if you want, you can always come back to this. We'll be on YouTube and do the visualization again. And so right now, I just claim this experience for you in your name. That this is the experience you will be having this week. Because God is simply all there is, all there ever has been, all there ever will be. And we are in it, of it, as it. And so right now, as I claim this for everyone here, I also claim it for any name that is in the ministry of prayer today, because I do know that that same power that flowed through us today, painting this picture, is the power that flows through the names that are in the ministry of prayer. So whatever condition they are experiencing, God is the answer, and I pull back the veil and I reveal that truth here and now as good and very good, and I claim it for them in their name. This week is blessed with so much experience of clarity of intention that we begin to manifest quickly and easily. And so right now, I give thanks. My heart fills with gratitude to let this be, to be of service in this way. And so I just let it be. And so it is. Amen. Oh, I forgot to tell you. Today you're going to be tithing 6%. So you're going to give yourself $600 in your spiritual bank account. Each time you do your visualization, you're going to get $1,000. So today you get $1,000 for that. You get $100 for attending church. And remember, if you're still doing your gratitude work, you're going to give yourself $100 for expressing gratitude first thing in the morning, $300 for doing your gratitude breaks where you're remembering 3 things you're grateful for, and $1,000 at night for remembering 10 things that you're grateful for. Anytime you do your 100 affirmations, you get $10,000. And then anytime you do your visualizations, you're going to get $1,000. So I want to make sure that we keep up with this spiritual bank account. You're going to continue to look at pictures of the thing that you want to buy, or the checks that you've written for paying off your bills or your investments. And of course, you're giving yourself money in your spiritual bank account for that as well. I believe it's $100 every time you do one of those things. So anyway, let me, I had to jump into that real quick because I forgot. So let me turn this over to Faith. Ah!
You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are, and all you do is blessing to the world. You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice, the spirit on earth, and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world. You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world.
Thank you, Faith. Now is our opportunity to receive your gifts, tithes, and offerings, and your opportunity to feel the gratitude and share the gratitude for that which you may have experienced in the physical realm, or perhaps what you have created in the mind of God and have not yet experienced in the physical realm. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to go to www.oasiscsl.org and say the offering affirmation with me. And then underneath that is a Contribute Now button. So let me just talk real quickly about what contributions are. When we're in a facility, there's rent and utilities and those kinds of expenses. We don't have any of those because we are not in a facility. So what we do have, unfortunately, is marketing costs, because our vision is a healed world. And our mission is to heal the world one person at a time. So in order to reach the global community, we obviously have to advertise. We already have people from Great Britain or England or UK, however you want to call it, and the Netherlands, which is Holland, Germany, Sri Lanka, and India. And so, in the Philippines, excuse me. And so we want to make sure that we are reaching out to everybody possible. And so your contributions help us do that. They fund our mission to get to our vision. Blah, blah, blah. So right now, whether you're watching in real time or later on, please go with me now to www.oasiscsl.org. And you're going to say this offering affirmation with me. That's about 2/3 down the page. This perfect gift is spirit and form, circulating and blessing all it touches. Freely I give and joyously I receive. And so it is. Hit that Contribute Now button and help us with our mission so that we can get to our vision. All right. We have this wonderful team of licensed practitioners from coast to coast who serve our church in many ways. Well, 3 of them that I'm going to talk about here. The first of which is that they are available to pray on your prayer requests every day for a week. So if you would like prayer for something, please put it in the comments section. If you don't want it to be public, you can always DM Faith, and she'll make sure our God Squad, which is what we call our licensed practitioners, will pray on those every day for a week. So we call them God Squad because I like that imagery of them like marching in and taking charge. So they're the God Squad. Anyway, they will pray on those requests every day for a week as long as we get it to them. All right. The second way that our licensed practitioners serve our church is appointments for spiritual guidance by appointment for a fee. Now, I don't get involved with how you pay for it. Each practitioner has their own business. So some use PayPal, some use Venmo, some use Wise, some use Cash App, some use Zelle. And I don't get involved in that. They determine that. So reach out to, it's Oz right now. Reach out to Oz. Let him know you would like an appointment for spiritual guidance. And he will let you know how to pay for it. And then he will reach out to you by video chat at the appointed time. And then the third way is what I explained earlier. Oz is our practitioner of the day, meaning that he does the invocations, the benedictions, and he's available at the end for our 1-minute miracle. That is not a time for counseling, but it is a time where you can share whatever challenge you're experiencing, and he will stop, drop, and pray with you right then and there. All right. Brooks and Bailey, as these 2 wonderful ladies have such great jewelry, all kinds of jewelry, but I focus in on the mala beads personally because they help us do our affirmations. My mala beads here are amethyst, so they're $60, but they have other gemstones for $30 and up. But the Hindus and Buddhists use the beads one at a time to do their chants. And so I say, what a great way to do your affirmations. Make sure you get your 100 in. Each mala bead necklace has 108 beads, and the bracelets have 54. And so, and I don't know how much the bracelets are. I think they're either 15, 20, or 25. I'm not positive about that, but reach out to these ladies. You can reach out to them through Brooks and Bailey 0307 at Gmail or on their Facebook page. I try to repost whenever they have a table at an event or something. But all the proceeds go to Rocky Mountain Lab Rescue, which is a really great organization. All right. Karen Drucker. Oh, wait. Elaine Silver. Sorry. I'm messing up really bad. Sorry, Faith. Reverend Fairy Lane Silver has a website that you can purchase the songs that you hear here and others. You have to buy a CD. She doesn't have it available by a song. And for some reason, she can't update her website with a form of payment or a payment portal. So she travels around the country singing, and she carries the CDs in the trunk of her car. So reach out to her by email. It's on the website. And let her know you want to purchase a CD, and she will tell you how to pay for it, and then she will send it out. She's really good at sending it out right away. I've never had a problem getting it from her. All right, and then Karen Drucker's website does work. You can buy by the song, the CD, karaoke file, songbook. Some of the songbook pages actually have American Sign Language, so you can learn how to sign a particular song. And her website does work, so you can pay for it right then and there. But reach out to these two ladies, buy their stuff. I mean, we like to support those who support us, and they definitely have supported us all along. So we definitely want people to buy from them. And then check out our website at www.oasiscsl.org. We have photos of events that we've had, so you can get to know your spiritual community. The website is horribly outdated, and we're working on it. We've had some events that have happened, and now I'm stuck in some other quagmire, so it's not getting done. But in the meantime, you can reach out to for YouTube and SoundCloud. YouTube has the videos of our sermons, and SoundCloud has the audio of our sermons, and it's under S. Tucker, so you can get it there. All right, I'm going to turn this over to Oz, if he's there. I don't see him. There he is.
I was hiding behind the curtain. And I know right here, right now, that God's presence is all around us, in us, as us, and through all that we experience. I have clarity as to my beliefs and clarity as to my desires and needs and wants. And I know that God manifests all of these and all of yours in the most perfect way possible. I give thanks for these blessings, and I let them be. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Oz. Thank you, all of you, for being here. I know there's 1,000 things you could be doing on a Sunday morning. We are blessed to have you with us. Make sure and join us next week and every week at 10:30 a.m. Mountain Time. Next week, we're on the 7th week of our 10-week program, so you don't want to miss any of them. It's going to be great, so we will see you then. In the meantime, stay safe. We love you. Bye.